I've said my piece before about baritone ukuleles, how I used to dismiss them and how a Pono proved me wrong. That Pono wasn't without its shortcomings, so I found an instrument to rectify them. This is Gear Profile. Hello, my name is Marc Gallagher and welcome to Gear Profile, where I take a look at a piece of gear that I have and love and I tell its story, why it speaks to me, and of course, give it a play. Today we're looking at my Pono ULN4-2, which is my number one baritone and probably a forever uke in my collection. I suppose we should go back to the start for me, which was in the winter of 2020. Despite the lockdowns and other bollocks, I was really looking to get a baritone ukulele to broaden my musical horizons and get some uke sounds that I'd previously dismissed. As a Pono artist, I was well aware of their reputation for great baritones, and one video that I kept going back to was the World of Uke's Pono baritone comparison, where it took a regular sized baritone, compared it to a slightly larger ULN4, and then compared that to the largest of the series, the BN4. Of the three ukes, the one I gravitated most towards was the ULN4 one, sort of like the mama bear to the other ukes like Baby Bear and Daddy Bear. Anyway, Matt unfortunately sold out of the one I wanted, so I settled for the ABD from Father Christmas that year. Settle was the operative word. I liked the uke as a first foray into baritone, however its regular tension relative to the other options and the all acacia construction sounded a bit muddy to my ears. Strumming was something of a no-go zone on this instrument. In that video from World of Ukes, what I really liked about the ULN4 was the increased sing from the greater tension and the longer scale length, but the BN4 kind of overdid it, and I really didn't want a ukulele that had steel strings, which unfortunately the BN series really did. What I love about the Pono Pro Classic tenor ukuleles is the cedar top. It gives a great punchy soundboard that suits my strumming style perfectly, while also allowing for some great chime on fingerpicking. In 2022, I had a yearning for something that was just like my Pono, but bigger and lower in pitch. So with no options left in the UK, I took to the ukulele site in Hawaii. Because Pono were phasing out the Pro Classic series for the new Master series, I took advantage of the blowout sale to not only get a secondary Pro Classic tenor, which I've already made a video about, but I was also eyeing up a ULN4 baritone. For me, the choices came down to two options, whether it was having mahogany backensides or rosewood. I found the rosewood one a bit warmer sounding, however I went with the mahogany one because it saved a couple $100. After a few weeks and some hefty customs charges later, they arrived at my doorstep, and I made a video that day to document my first impressions of them. The ULN4-2 usurped my ABD as the main baritone, and since an acoustic panel fell on the lesser instrument, that one lives in high D tuning while I take this guy out to gigs. Probably most notably, I took it to the Allegheny Ukulele Soiree in Pennsylvania. This is a Pono ULN4-2. The UL stands for ukulele, which roughly translates as small instrument. This small. Maybe it's like an ironic name like Tiny Tiger from Crash Bandicoot, or maybe it's saying that this is closer to like a small guitar than being considered a ukulele. The biggest crime here for me is that I thought the UL stood for ultra long. Maybe that's just my mind going into dirty places. The N means nylon because there are some UL ukes that have steel strings and are designed for it, and then the 2 at the end denotes which back and sidewoods there are. The 1 is acacia, 2 is mahogany, 3 is mango, 4 is rosewood. This one is the mahogany version because, like I said, I want to save a couple $100, even though I did find the rosewood one, stunning. It has a longer scale length of 21.5 inches instead of the usual 20 inches on a baritone. The slotted headstock, while fiddly and annoying, I think do add a great extra zing and tension to the strings. The body is also larger, it's like a more scaled down parlor guitar. Thank God it came with a custom hard case because there was no way I was ever going to find some case that fit this instrument because it's so different. It has a 35mm nut width. I think the neck is made of mahogany and it's got some nice rope rosette and some binding. I can't speak in much detail on the binding. I just know it's here and I know that I like it. I like most binding. It just looks nice. I installed not one, but two pickups on this ukulele. I put a MySite in first because I'm a MySite artist. I honestly believe their pickups are the best around. But on a baritone ukulele, the plugged in sound for an undersaddle usually means that the lower wound strings are super loud, which just leaves the higher ones too quiet for single note playing. To remedy this, I added an LR Baggs Lyric pickup, which is an internal microphone. So I blend both of those together to get a really detailed live sound, which still keeps a decent balance across the strings. This is my number one baritone, and it holds that place proudly. The cedar top gives punch and projection in a way that sonically lines this ukulele up with the Pono Tenors. Going in when I was looking for an instrument, I knew that I wanted my Pono Tenor, but just bigger in lower, you know? This ukulele is much better strummed than the all acacia ABD that I have, although with the larger body, it can be a bit unruly at times. I think the uke benefits mostly from a thumb and strum approach, which is very common for my baritone playing style, and I honestly believe most baritones kind of suit that playing style best. I can still get it to sing and bark when I need it to, but I like to lean into the warmer sounds every now and then. I do wish I had the rosewood version, like mainly for the fashion. Also, it does sound a bit warmer, but I don't think I would want to replace this uke. I just want to supplement it with something great in the same way that I did with the Pono Pro Classic Tenors. And it's a shame because Pono doesn't really have the same cachet that it once did. 10 years ago, they were world renowned as fantastically made instruments, even if it didn't chase trends or fads. They're traditional, and you could argue they were stubborn, while most modern brands like Flight continue to grow and innovate and push boundaries. But unfortunately, the main stores in the UK, Sus and World of Ukes, they don't really stock them anymore. They make way for newer options like Oli. Outside of the UK as well, there also appear to be fewer stores that are stocking Pono nowadays. And that's a shame because for a ukulele as unique as this, 21.5-inch scale length, parlor guitar style body, and also, crucially, nylon strings, that instrument doesn't really exist outside the Pono Ukulele series. These great ukuleles still exist, you just have to look a little harder to find them. My name is Marc Gallagher, and this has been Gear Profile. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any thoughts down in the comments. You can also follow me on your social media of choice at Marc Gallagher Music, and do consider supporting me on Patreon. For now, I'm Marc Gallagher. Like the video if you want, share if you feel compelled to, and follow me on places. I'll catch you down the road.